What is up, everybody? It is your favorite C-Punk Vaporwave E-Boy, Stank Jeff P. And today we're gonna... Okay, come on. Serious question for the audience. Frank Jeff C hasn't uploaded in over 3 years. I know he's been doing other stuff, but, is he really relevant enough that, even assuming that the joke is funny, which is already a stretch, is anyone gonna get it? Does anyone know who Frank Jeff C is anymore? Today we're going to do, well, I don't really know what we're gonna do either. I'm gonna do some music, I just don't really know what to call it. I don't even think that this style has really congealed into a genre with a name yet. A good example of it is this band, I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, Model Actrice. They put out a 7-inch here last year. The B-side to it, Damocles, is sort of this no-wave, industrial, post-punk disco kind of thing. The only other band I'm really aware of that's doing this kind of sound is this group called Mad Mad Mad. They put together a couple albums at this point. There's a really good live performance. I want to say it was either KEXP or someone similar, but there's a really excellent live performance from a few years back that I would definitely recommend you go check out if you want to see sort of what the deal is with this sound. That's like the perfect encapsulation of it. The thing that really stuck out to me about it, the reason why it interests me in particular, is because it reminds me a lot of Complextra. It basically seems to me like it's that kind of style of house music, but while there is electronic elements to it, a lot of it is also being played with live rock instrumentation, which, not to say that there's anything wrong with running a DJ set, but it's a different dynamic than having a band locking into a groove together, all kinds of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. The point is, I'm gonna try to make a song like that today. I'm gonna try to do a cover of Wolfgang Gartner's Hookshot in the no-wave, disco industrial post-punk style. Anyway, let's travel to the desktop world. Okay, we are in desktop world. Let me get my hair tied back. Put on my studio monitors. So I guess first things first, I think this is the first time I've ever sort of on camera shown what's my musical process. So we've got here Linux Multimedia Studio version 1.1.3, is that correct? Yes, version 1.1.3, which if you're familiar with LMMS, you know that is a somewhat dated version of the program. Why am I still using such an old version of LMMS? Long story short, even though there are glitches and things with this version of the program that I'm near certain have been fixed in more recent versions, I at least know how to work around these glitches, and I don't want to risk updating to a new version of the software, potentially breaking compatibility with some of my projects, as well as introducing new glitches that I don't know how to work around. And if you're familiar with LMMS, you also know that you cannot record in LMMS in terms of a microphone, for example, or any other kind of audio signal. You can't bring a signal into LMMS. You have to import files. You have to have existing WAV files, and so I mean, I'm sure it supports some other formats, but pretty much 100% of the time it's just WAV files. So yeah, any time that I'm recording something, I'm using Audacity, which is a pretty standard program for recording audio. I'm sure I don't need to introduce that or how it works. And even if I did have to, I wouldn't, because it would make recording this video even more complex than it already is for my goal of trying to do a video every day. Future me, edit this out to avoid copyright problems. I'm gonna listen to a couple of the songs that I like as reference. Okay. Okay, so what do we want to do first? We need a beat. That's the first thing, is we need a beat. I'm going to try using some of my samples that I just have. Snare.wav. What a good thing. That's a fine snare, I think. Well, let me try some of the others. I don't think many of these are going to be too different. The reason that one is called something as simple as just snare is because it's not part of my main drum samples folder. It's part of a song specific folder with some samples that I recorded later than some of my other drum samples, because a lot of those initial drum samples aren't very good. They were just recorded with like a Blue Yeti, and not even the XLR version, just the USB edition of the microphone. So even though I have a lot of samples recorded through there, a lot of the snares are really blown out. Some of the hi-hats are fine. I use those pretty often, but hat foot, because it's the hi-hat being played with the foot. That's what WTF stands for, if your grandma asks. I might use these. I might just end up using some stuff that's packaged with Album S, as I'm going to do the bass. Let's try some kicks. Might use that one. We might end up just using like the basic acoustic kick. So let's figure out our drum beat. For one thing, let's go with a BPM of 133. That's maybe a little fast. Let's go to 127. I'm going to make a specific effects channel for the kick and snare. So there's a few things I don't like about this. The first is I want to get a more interesting sort of rhythm on the hats. Maybe we could even do something a little wacky with the snare. I don't want to mess around with delay on the snare, because usually the way that I like to do delays on the snares tends to screw around with Album S and the way it handles delays. Mess around with the EQ on the kick a bit. We should turn it down first. That looks fine. Now we want to mess around a bit with the hats. We can mess around a bit with the timing. Put a little delay on this hat here. There's some weird phase stuff happening there. I kind of like it though. Let me make a separate effects channel for the hats. Let me EQ the foot hat a bit. We'll EQ our other hat as well. Later on, let me make a note about that. I like the way that messing with the 2 kilohertz band on that hat works, so I'm just going to make a note about that. Say we could use that as a fader. Let me go ahead and remember to save the project. That's important. Save often. Hookshot. Cover. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I kind of like it. I like the hi-hat as it is without the EQ, but again, I think we might want to use that 2 kilohertz band, maybe the 1 kilohertz band, as a kind of fader at some point in the song. We could put a clap in here. Pretty sure I have a clap somewhere. I have a snap. Cracking my knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. Can't even hear it. That doesn't sound great. Might just use a... Whoops. Might just use like a default LMMS clap. I like this one. It's too loud. I'll do a little EQ on the clap. Maybe a little reverb. Not too much. Alright. You know what this needs? Bass. I'm a damn Nelly. I am not. I've been recording for almost half an hour, and literally all I have is a drum beat that I'm not even honestly sure is going to be final. I think I'm in standard tuning, but I think I'm out of tune. Okay. I've got a good enough idea what the notes are. Let me pull up my tuner on my phone, which you might think seems crude, but there's two reasons why I prefer it. The first reason is, unlike any other tuner I have, I can see the specific frequency, and the second reason that I'm using it is because I use it for everything else. So I think it's better to just keep with consistency and make sure I'm using the same tuner for everything. Just, you know. You never know. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's sharp. I don't even think I'm going to be using either of these strings much, but may as well get everything in tune, because, you know, harmonics can ring out and shit like that, I guess, or whatever. One of the problems with trying to tune with a combination of by ear, because this is the problem, is that no tuner that I have can God damn it, I keep smacking my lips and clipping the mic. Literally no tuner that I have is like accurate enough to be able to display like the notes I'm playing with the low string on the bass. So the problem is I'm usually doing it at least partially by ear. And the particular problem with that is most of the music I've been making for the past couple of years has been for the album Slurry that I released earlier this summer. And everything on that album is in weird tunings. For the past 2 years, in my mind, a D has been 150 hertz. So I'm trying to tune to a proper 12-tone equal temperament D, and it's just like my brain's having trouble with it, because it's so used to D being, you know, a good 10-20 cents higher. We're getting close. We're still a little flat. It sounds like shit because the low string still isn't in tune. Has anyone else noticed this? Like when I drink, my sense of pitch gets completely warped. I'm not drinking right now, but I wonder if maybe my drunk sense of pitch is the correct one. You know, like I don't really think about like my height and things when I'm sober, you know? But like when I'm drunk, I become like hyper aware of stuff like that. So I wonder what the likelihood is that my drunk sense of pitch is the correct one. Because right now, like I'm playing a note and the tuner's telling me it's one thing, and then I try to whistle that same note, and to me it sounds exactly the same. And the tuner says that I'm like a whole half step sharp. Okay. I think that is more or less as good as it's going to get. We need to get this cable. Got to take this cable out of my rack reverb effects. I just realized this thing's like covered in dust. The instrument gain is completely down. This is going to be too loud. Oh, I didn't turn on direct monitoring. Actually, there's still nothing coming through. Why is that? Alright, it's time to check all our connections! Woohoo! Everyone's favorite part of making music. checking all the connections between your equipment to find out what the problem is. Yay! Everything's definitely getting power. Yeah, everything's got power. Time to crawl around on my hands and knees. I think I just fixed it. I think. That's the key word. I don't know for sure. I'll find out once I get the headphones on. God, I'm gonna have so much fucking footage to fucking trim down from this shit. Yeah. That's too loud. What about more like this? That's pretty good. So, let's just practice to the beat a bit. I've got that dust all over my hands now. I'm gonna dust off the bass guitar and wash my hands real quick. I really hope that the audio balance between the bass and the beat and the recording isn't like awful, because that'd suck. Not gonna lie, I've kind of got drip. I don't even know if the microphone could pick up me saying it. With a dust-free bass guitar and clean hands, ideally this should be a bit less shitty. Okay. I'm gonna hit record in Audacity. Worst case scenario, we can't get a good, full performance. I'm not opposed to just getting a good bass line and looping it. That's probably good. I think I have enough to work with there. Alrighty. So I believe this is our loop. I think we got like 4 bars. I'm gonna go ahead and amplify this to 0 dB. I'm pretty pleased with that. Export selected audio. We'll call this. God fucking damn it. I wonder how fucking long I was muted. I must have typed something that used my... What's my... P and O are my hotkeys for muting the microphone. I'm pretty sure at some point I muted myself and didn't realize. That's a shame. I've probably done that multiple times. Yeah, it was probably when I typed the words bass loop. Probably ever since I typed... Or maybe it was just when I typed... In any case, I don't know how much of the audio has been muted, which is why I probably should have been recording everything to Audacity in the first place. Anyway, we'll bring in our Lord Darned guitar sample. Okay, so let's start arranging stuff. So we'll start, copying and pasting the bass line and stuff here, because we want this to kind of have a, be an actual song with stuff that happens, right? So it'll start with just the drum beat. Aren't there some... Let me listen to the actual original song. Because I know there's like some chords and stuff that come in later that we could bring in. So yeah, it's a D and a D sharp. I think we've been doing this a half step sharp from the actual song. Let me listen to it. Or rather, a half step flat. Nothing matters. Music's fake. So over the course of those, what is that, 16 measures, we'll have that start to ramp up. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, it has to be more extreme. Because since a lot of that sound I want from the hi-hats is coming from the delay, it takes a minute for the actual change to be, like, noticeable. God damn it. We need to double the automation track. I knew that this was a problem with low pass filters and stuff. So this is only controlling channel 2. Yeah, unfortunate thing about LMMS is a lot of the time when you're dealing with changing frequency bands, if it's in stereo, you need to automate each stereo channel separately. It's still only doing channel 2, even after I've unlinked the channels. Okay, it looks like our automation is behaving correctly now. I basically had to completely redo it. So now we kind of have like a basic skeleton for our first fader. So what do we want now? What I want now is they usually have a lot of like electronic stuff and noise going on in these types of tracks. So I'm gonna go to my noise sample folder. I should probably save my project before I do this, because if I accidentally import a sound file that is too long, it could just crash LMMS. Let's try this. I said that this was a wall noise, and I think it's too big. It's too big. I'm gonna try to relink it to a different sample before it's too late. Nope, LMMS is crashing. It's too late. Yep, there it goes. Bye, LMMS. Let's try it again. Oh man, that is funny. I can just showcase all of the problems with LMMS version 1.1.3. Droning saw. Now that's pretty abrasive, but we can soften it in all kinds of ways. So let's just like make it really low. We'll make 4 bars of that. What was I using to adjust the volume on that? Oh, the plugin volume. Fun fact, plugin volume is good for if you're making like long-term adjustments, but generally if you want to automate the amplitude of a sample, the actual plugin amplification is not the way to do that because it is slow. And let's get a sample that's a bit more musical as well. So let's find something. Damn, I literally just pulled up completely by accident a handful of samples that are literally titled Musical 1, Musical 2, and Weirdly Rhythmic. So let's try Weirdly Rhythmic, see what we can do with that. That's kind of like, we could do something with that. We could EQ it. Because I really just want that sort of high-end, it sounds like maybe 4. God fucking damn it. I just realized, once again, the goddamn... Was it when I searched for high-pass filter? I don't know. I keep accidentally muting myself and not realizing it. In any case, I guess what I just said while I was muted apparently is I think I'm having audio problems that are usually solved by just restarting the computer. So I'm going to pause the recording and restart the computer, and I'll be back in a minute. And I'm going to think about what I want to do for vocals. What I was saying to myself when I think nobody could hear me was I should probably, because this is supposed to be like a no-wave thing, I should probably think about vocals less in terms of melody and more in terms of a kind of rhythmic chant, I suppose. Okay, so I've restarted the computer, and I think I have an idea. It's a bad one, but it's the one that's been stuck in my head. So the name of the song, right, is Hookshot. Now that's referring to, of course, the basketball term, as evident by the
the cover art for the single. But I don't know a thing about basketball. I am, however, a gamer. I can't keep a straight face while saying that. Anyway, so the idea that's been stuck in my head is to write lyrics about the hook shot from The Legend of Zelda. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. So enjoy whatever bullshit comes out of that idea. Thanks everyone for putting up with my terrible cringe bullshit. If you liked this for some reason, make sure to comment, favorite, subscribe, like, or even dislike. Just show that you care, and the box is down there. But seriously, I'll see you tomorrow.